Welcome to World News. Tonight, the Illinois governor in an act of defiance. He goes ahead and names a replacement for Barack Obama in the Senate. Democrats now vow to stop him. But can they? Truce talk. Another day of intense fighting, and Israel now says it's considering a ceasefire. Out of business. The other shoe drops for tens of thousands of stores, including big retail chains, now preparing to close their doors. Our closer look. And farewell, a tribute to the people we lost in 2008, leaving us with moments to cherish.
You keep forgetting the conditions on which I agreed to stay on living with you.
From ABC News headquarters, this is World News with Charles Gibson. Reporting tonight, David Muir.
Good evening. The governor of Illinois, Rod Blagojevich, today made his latest move in what's become a political game of chicken. Immediately after Blagojevich was arrested this month on charges of trying to sell Barack Obama's Senate seat, Senate Democrats made it clear they would block anyone he named as a replacement from being sworn in. Tonight, the combative governor has gone ahead and made an appointment anyway, naming a former state attorney general to the seat, setting the stage for an unprecedented and dramatic showdown 1 week before the new Senate will be seated. We begin with Chris Bury in Chicago tonight. Chris, good evening.
Good evening, David. In a move remarkable for its audacity, even in Illinois, the embattled governor has named a lobbyist and longtime politician to fill the very Senate seat he stands accused of attempting to sell.
This afternoon, defiant as ever, Governor Blagojevich insisted it was his duty to fill the vacancy left by Barack Obama.
I am appointing Roland Burris as the next United States Senator from Illinois.
71-year-old Burris, a former Illinois Attorney General, is the first African-American ever to win statewide office here. But he's failed in multiple bids for senator, governor, and Chicago mayor. Today, he tried to distance himself from the man who appointed him.
I have no relationship with that situation.
Feel free to castigate the appointor, but don't lynch the appointor.
Burris is not among the 6 contenders that Blagojevich is allegedly heard conspiring about in those FBI wiretaps. Still, his appointment today as the governor faces corruption charges and impeachment strikes even jaded observers here as deeply tainted.
Governor Blagojevich is thumbing his nose basically at everyone else, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the United States Senate, the citizens of Illinois, and the General Assembly, which is trying to impeach him.
Today, leading Senate Democrats and state officials vowed to block the Blagojevich move.
Governor Blagojevich knows that. What we saw today was an act of political defiance, where he is going to try to have his way, despite the fact that the Senate Democratic Caucus has stated clearly that it will not seat his choice for this position.
We believe in clean government, and Rod Blagojevich has unclean hands.
But the governor, a cagey, if cynical political pro, may be playing the race card. Today, Congressman Bobby Rush, who represents a largely African-American district, joined the Blagojevich news conference to issue this warning.
Tonight, hang or lynch the appointee as you try to castigate the appointor.
To inject race in it is inappropriate and is not relevant. At best, it's a distraction.
Late today, President-elect Obama weighed in, calling Roland Burris a good man and a fine public servant. But in a statement, Obama made it clear that he agrees with Senate Democrats, quote, that they cannot accept an appointment made by a governor who is accused of selling his former Senate seat. And once again, Barack Obama called on Rod Blagojevich to resign. David?
Chris Bury leading us off in Chicago tonight. Chris, thank you. Our chief congressional correspondent, Jonathan Karl, is in Washington tonight. And, John, we are certainly in uncharted territory, aren't we?
In fact, David, the Senate historian tells us today that never before in the history of the United States Senate has there been a case like this one of the Senate refusing to seat the appointee of a duly elected governor. It's just never happened.
And so we ask, John, what happens if this appointment shows up in the Senate?
Well, it's unclear. The Democratic leaders say that this process is so tainted that the Constitution gives them a clear right to deny this seat to Burris. But election law experts who we have spoken to say that if Burris himself is not tainted, that the Senate does not have the right to deny him this seat, so it's up in the air.
John, I'm curious what you've learned. Is there any second guessing among Democratic leaders who could really use this additional Democratic vote in the weeks, the months ahead?
Oh, David, they really could use this. I mean, they're going into this debate over economic stimulus. This is a vote they would like to have, a vote they may need. But the Democrats I have spoken to say that this was not even a close call, that even if Blagojevich had managed to somehow get Abraham Lincoln appointed, that would have been denied by the Senate as well.
And John, just to make it clear, the Senate session begins with or without this appointment.
Absolutely. They will be one Democratic seat short if this is not resolved by next week.
All right, our senior congressional correspondent John Carl in Washington tonight. John, thanks very much. Next, we turn to the fighting in the Middle East this evening. President Bush today